This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
This episode is proud to be sponsored by Now, where you can stream Sky Sports flexibly. Catch the biggest games this season how you want, when you want. The football season is back, and you can keep up with all the action on Sky Sports with a Now membership. Whether you're perched on the edge of your sofa or hiding behind it, you can capture more of the drama this season with Now. The heat of the moment, the 90th minute winner, that last-ditch tackle, the pride on the line, and the best bit, you can dip in for the derby or stay for the season. With a Now month membership, you can stream all Sky Sports channels flexibly. No fuss. Go to nowtv.com to find out more about sports memberships. 18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change. Full terms apply.
This episode of the 1911 podcast is brought to you by Coral, the proud sponsor of the TalkSport Fan Network. Here for all kinds of fans. For the armchair experts who didn't have enough City points to make that away game. For the football fashionistas that wear claret and amber with pride. And for the nostalgia merchants, because nothing beats the history makers. Whatever kind of fan you are, with Coral's free-to-play reward shaker, win a guaranteed daily reward or offer throughout the season. Simply shake your phone to win. Over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day, 8am to 8pm. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. For more information on safer gambling, visit gambleaware.org.
Previously on the 1911 podcast.
I'd rather not play it and just focus on league, to be honest. So for me, honestly, I'm not asked.
I am going to ask you, actually. You said you didn't want to give a prediction, but I'm going to ask you to anyway.
I think we'll lose, to be honest. We'll 1-0 Blackburn.
I'm thinking the same way. I think maybe 2-0 to Blackburn.
Luton at home then?
I'm thinking maybe 2-2 draw.
Then we could give them a run for the money. I'm going to say 2-1 City.
I'm not asked.
Good morning and welcome back to the 1911. This morning, gents, before I go any further, I need to issue a bit of an apology. My mate Ian is not a City fan in any way, shape or form. He's not happy with us. He listens to pod every week and he thinks we're a bit too negative last week and said in no uncertain terms that if he was our manager, he'd give us a dressing down and send us back out and do better. So I think I need to touch on that and apologise a bit, to be honest. Blackburn, I said I wasn't bothered.
Yeah, listen, and I think I want to address a little bit of that. I do think a lot of it is just nerves to beginning of the season. It's a new league. We're not sure where we're going to be, where we're going to end up. I've been super cautious, which is very unlike me, but it's just because I'm more concerned about us staying up. However, Blackburn, as you mentioned, wow. It
was a phenomenal game. Me and Chris weren't there, but someone who hasn't let us forget that he had a ticket. Mr. Hudson.
I've got to rub it in. No, and also I'd like to point out with your negativity comment that I was the only one who actually cared about this game. You two said, "Oh well, as long as no one gets crocked, we'll be fine." And obviously Joe Wright did end up missing the Luton game, but it was brilliant. I mean, the atmosphere was probably one of the best away ends I think I've ever been in with City, which takes some topping in terms of, what we've experienced over the years. But it helps when you score inside the first minute.
Oh, God, yeah. And what a goal it was as well. That were Premier League quality. If that were Premier League, that'd be all over Sky Sports News for the next 3 weeks.
There's some
sublime cross, great volley.
I mean, there's some very, very suspect marking going on at the back post. I think Torre's got the freedom of Lancashire at the back post, but he still needs to connect cleanly, and he absolutely does. It's a stonking strike. And then to go and score 3 minutes later as well from exactly, it's going to be what a pleasing goal for Alexander to see. Pressing high, don't give the goalkeeper the time of day to clear the ball, get on top of him. Just the first goal, aesthetically pleasing, but the second goal for a manager, seeing your team press high, pressing numbers that early on in the game must be so satisfying.
It was just all, I think that the performance and obviously having some of the fringe players coming in, got to obviously have a look at Metcalf. Tyreek played really well. I think that also needs to be mentioned now that he's playing in the position that he should be playing in, rather than, I think we can all agree that he's not a wing back in any stretch of the imagination. And I'm sure that for Tyreek, that's a big plus for him. But yeah, there's a lot of players, and this squad looks really good and very tight as well, and they look all together. I feel that the club we're adapting, but also the players seem really, really close together. There's a real bond there, and it's just kind of escalated from last season, and now we're seeing it again, and it's just like they fight for each other. And against Blackburn, you could see that very clearly.
Well, when you look at it, and it's like the team were made up of mainly sort of like, we'll call them fringe players. It's too early to say what Graham's preferred 11 is going to be throughout the entirety of the season. We know he likes to have a change around, but your fringe so-called players, they put a decent Blackburn side to the axe. To have that sort of strength and depth available to us is phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't dominate the game, actually, which is kind of more encouraging almost than saying, oh, well, we steamrolled them and they didn't turn up, because we've beaten a really, really good championship side there who caused us problems right the way through the game. So the positives are there massively. We have to give a standing ovation there to Metcalf, who probably was my man of the match in that game. He was absolutely unplayable. I've never seen someone on debut look so calm on the ball.
Yeah, he's isn't he? He's such a good footballer. Really exciting to see what his future is going to be as well. I feel that the ceiling is not high enough for him. I think he's got so much ability, and for such a young lad as well. Just the way that he played, the passing was great. The way he was running back was great. The way he was going forward was great. And what's really exciting as well for us is the fact that you're also kind of questioning whether he would get into the game if he got onto the first team yesterday, because of the fact that we do have those players now, and there is real competition. It's just really exciting to see that we've got those options all over, and there's a lot of players. And I think Alexander mentioned it the other day that he wants a squad of 22, I think is what he said. And he said that every single player will have their moment. And I think that you can see that's exactly what we need. It's great.
I want to pull you back to Metcalf, because actually you've mentioned obviously how good he was on the ball, but what I do want to say is how physical he was. When you see young players like this, especially at this level, who have dropped down from having, Premier League loans, and obviously he's a permanent for us. I still can't believe that we've got him for 3 years. Should no one come for him, which is looking more and more likely. But how physical he was for his age and for where he's been as well, dropping down as a Premier League loan, is absolutely amazing. We've, like you say, the whole squad just seems to fight and want to win as much as they can. Even 90 minutes left in the game at Blackburn, and we're throwing ourselves up the other end to win a corner, and that secures us the game completely. But the physicality of the side is so impressive. Even young players like Metcalf are throwing themselves into challenges, the barging people off the ball. That mentality is just incredible to see.
Yeah, and it's really good to see all over the pitch. And I was having a conversation yesterday as well with someone, and I said, do we have the quickest wing backs in the league? Because both the wing backs are just ridiculously fast. I mean, Nerville, interesting one. I had a little bit of a debate with someone yesterday about who's quicker, him or Teo. And I said, I actually think that Nerville is faster than Teo. I don't think there's much in it, but I do think that he's faster than Teo.
I think Nerville's quicker off the mark. There was a moment yesterday at the match where he was sort of scrapping for the ball on the right side in the first half. If you went to the game, you might remember this, because it stuck out in my mind of, God, how quick he is. And the ball sort of ricocheted away from him. And from where I was sitting in the cop, the amount of time it took him to run about, 10, 15 yards was split second. It was incredibly quick. He didn't even win the ball, but the ability to make up that distance, be off the mark that quickly, is so impressive. You mentioned about the squad of 22, which I think is really interesting. There are so many players, I think, from that Blackburn game who made a case to play against Luton. I know, obviously, it's very early in the season and Alexander's going to stick with what's worked so far, but Metcalf could have easily started against Luton. You could have obviously he did play, but you could have even made a case for Baldwin, who didn't have a bad game against Blackburn. We looked a bit exposed in the first half, especially because Wright didn't quite know when to go or when to stay, just because the three centre-backs hadn't played together, I think. There were a few moments where we all sort of backed off when they were running towards us. But there's so many players in that team. Swan as well was an argument for starting against Luton. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
There are arguments for starting, for sure, but on the flip side, the lads that have started in the league so far, they've not done all wrong to warrant being dropped either.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like this is what you're saying though, isn't it? It's this this mentality that we've got currently as a team where everyone's pitching in and fighting for everyone, and to be able to basically have two separate teams that can do the business, then we're arguing over who should be starting because they've all been that good, rather than it being, oh, he's actually a bit today, or he's been low on form, or whatever. It's a great headache to have, in it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll move on to Luton now, starting with this comment, but at 2-0 up and coasting yesterday, when it could have been 3 or 4, that sort of period, 60 to 70 minutes in the game, I was sat there with my cousin thinking, God, we've still got to bring on Patterson, we've still got to bring on Swan, and Metcalf has still got to come on. And the depth we have in this team is absolutely incredible.
It is phenomenal, and I know we may as well just jump on to Luton now. Yeah. I was shocked. Well, what I've seen in the first sort of like 2 or 3 games is the drop off at around 60 minutes. That didn't happen yesterday.
No, that was going to be my.
We went
comment,
for the full 90, and they went guns blazing.
Nerfville especially. There's been a comment sort of in every game he's played. He had a bit of a weak one at Blackburn, I thought. Just in terms of tracking back, he was jogging about 40 minutes into the game. I think that's sort of how most of their chances came about when they were pulling forward. Is Nerfville wasn't really tracking, but he ran for 90 minutes. Which you can't say he's done, I think, up to this point. He still had energy at the end of the game. It's really, really impressive to see that, like you say, the players are fighting, not just for 60 to 70 and then, we concede and it's back to the wall. We fought for the entire game. We were physical. We had the energy to get it over the line. I know, obviously, the scoreline made it look closer than it was, but, I mean, me and Chris will attest being there saying that it wasn't close.
I mean,
no, it wasn't.
Luton were lucky to have 10 or 11 on pitch, to be fair.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but I'll let Chris go first because he's adamant that it was a red.
I think it was 2 yellows, and the fact that they brought him off. So what was it? 25 minutes they brought him off. Obviously showed that they knew any tackle or foul whatsoever he was going. But that also showed you like how nervous they were about that. I completely agree with Ewan about the fact that it was not a close game. I would not genuinely have been surprised if we'd have won 4-0 yesterday. Tyreek could have had a hat trick.
Should have scored.
Yeah, he at least should have bagged one. We'll come on to him slightly later when we talk about the general performances. But I don't know. I think it would have been harsh for 2 yellows, but I definitely agree that they showed us massive respect by hooking that player on the yellow, because they clearly did not want Bobby in a 1v1 versus him, or Torre for that matter, because it would have ended badly. I think if that yellow card had happened 5 or 10 minutes later, like the possible second one, then yeah, maybe he would have been sent off. But I think it just happened in too close proximity to the first yellow card. From where I was sat in the cop, it looked a bit inconspicuous to be a second yellow. And you've also got to remember that a red card does massively impact the game. It completely changes the dynamic. Because up to that point, we'd been the better team, but Luton was still causing us problems going forward. One thing I do want to touch on, though, harking back to the Blackburn game, is we were cut open massively by Blackburn, especially in the midfield, where there were huge gaps. That didn't really happen against Luton on Saturday. It did for the first half, I thought, but once we got through that, we were so much tighter and more compact in the midfield. We didn't give up space too easily, which is really impressive to see.
I think it's also about, like we touched on it, but like about the energy side of things. I questioned last week whether we were fit enough. I don't doubt that anymore. I think that the one thing about League One and the difference, well, one of the big differences between League One and League Two is how much energy and how much running you are doing in this league. But you find that in League One that the pace is just so much more. You've got to be on it all game. And that's something that I felt that we did really, really well. I was mentioning yesterday as well about Max Power, and I'm going to say this: I think he's a massive upgrade on Richie.
Absolutely,
I really do, and he's the one who does all he does all the work that nobody else wants to do. It's that position where it doesn't get talked about enough in the role that he plays in this team. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And he is an upgrade from Richie. And it's not sour grapes. It's really not. I really appreciate what Richie did. But I just think that we're a totally different team with Max Power.
What impresses me about him is how he drops into the back three to start every attack. Every attack starts with him dropping in between the centre-backs, saying, give me the ball and I will move it for you. Yeah. And it's so impressive. Smallwood never did that. Absolutely never dropped back to start plays. He would sit in the midfield, and if the play bypassed him, then it bypassed him. He never wanted to get involved. Maybe that is sour grapes.
This episode is proud to be sponsored by Now, where you can stream Sky Sports flexibly. Catch the biggest games this season how you want, when you want. The football season is back, and you can keep up with all the action on Sky Sports with a Now membership. Whether you're perched on the edge of your sofa or hiding behind it, you can capture more of the drama this season with Now. The heat of the moment, the 90th minute winner, that last-ditch tackle, the pride on the line, and the best bit, you can dip in for the derby or stay for the season. With a Now month membership, you can stream all Sky Sports channels flexibly. No fuss. Go to nowtv.com to find out more about sports memberships. 18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change. Full terms apply. This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play reward shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
Question for you though: Is the start of our season being so good because for the first time in many years, every game we're going in with the underdog mentality rather than being the big boy for the scalp? Is that playing a big role in giving us more confidence and freedom? Maybe that bit more edge, will to fight.
I definitely think there's been a bit of a reset on the mentality of, back end of sort of last season and maybe the start of last season as well. Teams were turning up to Valley Parade thinking back in this mentality that we used to have sort of about 10 years ago of, oh, we'll take a point here, we just want to try and be compact and see what we can do. I think there's been a bit of a reset on that. We're definitely seeing, obviously, more League One teams want to come here and play their football, which is good because that's definitely suits how we play. Look at Northampton, who, played a very League Two style of football, shall we say, and we really struggled because we never got going, we never had a chance to play our game because we got sucked into it. When teams want to play football at Valley Parade, we do succeed. So I think there has been a bit of a reset on that front, but I don't think we're going in as underdogs, and that's definitely not the mindset that Alexander's instilling into his players, because they'll know now, having beaten two championship clubs, a side that's got double parachute payments coming off the back of two relegations from the Premier League. We've beaten a good Wickham side as well. There's no reason why we can't cause upsets in this league, except they're not upsets, are they? Because we've got such a strong squad. We've already talked about how much depth we've got as well. We roll teams over at home, and there's this trend now of teams coming to Valley Parade, and the manager comes out after the game and says, well, we just didn't turn up. And every team does that now. They don't turn up at Valley Parade because how can they? We press so high, we've got major problems causing for them, and the atmosphere is to be rivaled with teams in the Championship as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point you just mentioned then, was the atmosphere is unbelievable at the moment. It was so loud. Obviously the game against Fleetwood, it was very loud, obviously, because it was a full house. But yesterday, wow. I don't remember a cop for a league game being as loud as that. And we sang all the way through the game. Again, something that we probably haven't done in League Two. But the atmosphere, and you walked away from that ground yesterday, and I will mention this, is I was talking to people and I went, we've got our club back. It's all we've ever wanted. I've whinged for a few years about this and said, and got angry on different pods or whatever about the club. I can't knock the club in the slightest, and I'm so glad that I can't, because all we want is a team to be proud of. And I tell you what, this season so far, this is a team that I'm really proud of, and it's great.
Yeah, I was talking to my cousin after the match, and he was saying, that was... Oh, he said it was so comfortable, because that's what it really was. He talked about the atmosphere on the Kop. I was just amazed that 60, 70 minutes into the game, everyone's just chatting. When we're not singing our hearts out, we're just chatting, because there was no danger. There was no sense of, we're playing, a team that's going to be challenging for the title, because, they didn't turn up maybe, but we never looked likely to concede, and the goal we did concede was a bit out of nothing. There were a few scary moments at the end of the game where obviously the momentum slightly shifted, but Walker's only made... First save was 74 minutes in, definitely, because I've made a mental note of the time on the scoreboard. But he made a really good save from that long-range strike that came off the right. But yeah, he didn't have much to do.
See, my mate who was watching it with as well, he's not a Bradford fan. We were just having a few beers watching game, and he's a Newcastle fan, and he were shocked at how often we were just pumping it into the box. And I'm loving seeing this. We're no frills. We just want to pump it into the box, give us the most opportunity to score. He's right. It's not as common. People want to work it into the box these days, I think, and make that pretty goal, with pretty football. But we're just lumping it into the box. And do you know what? It's working for us. And we've got quite a big team. So it's working in our favour. And I think teams are really struggling to deal with that right now.
I think what was really interesting was I was looking at the stats at half time, and we had 38% possession, but we had 9 shots.
Yeah.
Compared to theirs, which they had 3 shots. And I think that again just shows you that we are a team that can counter-attack and do really well with the counter-attack. But there's a lot of speed in this team, isn't there? And there's a lot of commitment as well. You don't see a player kind of being lazy anymore. As I've mentioned earlier on, it's a team that are really fighting for each other. But we certainly are a team that just kind of, go on the counter and do really well with it. As I said, it could have been 4-0 yesterday. I was very nervous the last 5 minutes when they scored. I kind of was I was bricking it big time.
They were a good header, that, to be fair.
It was a great header.
It's a great header.
The rise he gets on that is very impressive, because he completely beats is it Torre?
Yeah.
Jumped. Yeah, he's a really impressive header. But it's frustrating because it did come out of nothing. They didn't really have a chance up to that point, and it was only a nervy game at the end because of that one switch off. And I was thinking about this on the way home, that it's actually good that we're not running away with games. If we'd have won 4-0, then there's no room for improvement in this team, because the players look at that and go, oh, well, we won 4-0 versus a side that's expected to win the league. Whereas if the game's slightly close, if we say, well, we wasted chances, we could have been further up. If we don't perform absolutely 100% perfectly, which we didn't through spells of the games, we gave it away a lot in the first half, and it was maybe a little cagier than it was in the second. There's room for improvement. There's room for this team to grow and develop, and the players can get behind this idea of the project that's going somewhere, rather than thinking, oh, we've actually hit our goal already, and then we drop off to possibly mid-table. The momentum is going to be such a big thing in this league for us this season.
With his return incoming within the next month or two, you know what I'm going to ask? Does Mr. Cook start? Can he get into this team right now? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way either. It's do you you don't change something that's not broken, do you?
Yeah.
But he's such a talismanic man for the club. Does he start? I mean, at all like if it continues this way, has Andy Cook got a new? Does he have to adapt to a new role of being maybe an off the bench player?
Yeah, I think that is exactly where he will be. I don't think he's got the athletic ability, shall we say, to get into this team. I think the way that we play currently doesn't work with an Andy Cook in there. I feel that Cookie is going to have to get used to being a part-time player. It's crazy to say that, but it again, another conversation I'd had yesterday was about that, and I think that he will have to do that, or he might have to look at another club.
Pick my words carefully here. I agree with you that Cook doesn't fit into the team currently because whether it's Humphreys or Swan, they do too much pressing, too much closing down, possibly for Cook to fit in the team. I know obviously every time that Cook has had this little knock, or every time we have a new season, we do say he looks leaner, he looks meaner, he looks more athletic, which is good. He's clearly moving that way in terms of his physique, but I still don't think he'll have the legs to do as much pressing as Humphreys or Swan does. That being said, if it wasn't for the pressing, I definitely think he can make it into this team. You've already talked about how much we're putting the ball into the box. Well, that goes together. That and Cook go perfectly together. And the amount of times that he can be deadly from those crosses is going to be a very, very high percentage. I think as well, there's an argument to move to more of a in the background role in the first team. You're looking at someone like, I think I've made this comparison before on the pod, but someone like Billy Sharp, who plays more passively. Even when he was at Sheffield United, he played really, really in the background, and then he'd get to the end of a game and he'd say, "Oh, we scored a hat-trick, how's that happened?" And that's because every ball wasn't going into his feet. He was just jogging about, and then he'd be on the penalty spot to tap one home. And that's what Cookie can bring to this team, I think. It would be interesting, I think, as well, though you talked about, does he get into the team? But I think the better question is, who goes out of the team in order to accommodate him? Because, okay, Humphreys hasn't set the world alight to start with. He did get, obviously, his goal against Luton, and he did look really good. I'd love to see him out wide, because I'm still convinced that... I know, obviously, we've had this big media storm in the past week of he's come here to play central striker, and even he came out yesterday to say, I've come here to play central striker, which is fine. Don't have a problem with that. I trust the management. But the first chance he had yesterday, where he's gone out wide and he's just bent it, and it struck the right post, I think. And that is where you want him. He had a chance like that against Wickham as well that led to the Sarcevic header for the first goal. That is where you want him. Out wide so he can hit the ball just like that. I think as well.
Neither of you have answered my question here.
No, but we're all beating around the bush.
If you're Graham Alexander, Tuesday night, Stockport, Andy Cook, fully fit, fully available, does he start?
Against Stockport, no.
No. That's your answer, mate.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted an answer from you.
The final comment I want to get across is that I could see him getting back in the team like 2 weeks ago, I think. But I've seen the team enough now in the league at full strength to say that I thought Sarcevic would drop into the background this season, and I do not want that to happen now, because you talked about someone who operates in the background and doesn't get appreciated. He is the king of that. He obviously bagged himself an assist yesterday, but he runs his socks off, he works so hard, and he's completely invisible for most of the game, but you know how important he is to the team and the mentality. I wouldn't take him out of the team for anyone. Even though there's an argument, obviously, you want to play Humphreys out wide, you want a Cookie through the middle to get on the end of these crosses that are going into the box. I mean,
I won't want a Humphreys out wide though. That's the thing. I'm really happy with him being central.
Oh yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy as well. But
I think his presence is physique for a start. Is a mountain of a man. I think he's perfect for what we need in the middle. I get what you mean about him coming in from out wide, and that shot yesterday, that's fair enough. But I don't think I want to see him out wide. I like him in the middle. He leads that line so well.
I think also we've got to look at the fact that I don't actually believe a word that Barnsley fans say, because the the feedback they gave us on Humphreys was that he's a lazy player. To be honest with you, I don't listen to a word of them, because I tell you what, one thing that Humphreys is not is a lazy player whatsoever. He just runs and runs and runs. He's definitely not the player that I think that they thought that they had.
None of this team have shown any signs of being a lazy player. Graham's got them properly drilled in how he wants them to play. Like, our tactic is basically built around them on the press, running at and going and closing down everything. I'm struggling to see where Cavs comes back into it.
It's because Cav and Swan are basically the same player, I think, really, in my mind, in the sense that he's an energy player that comes off the bench, and I just, to increase the press, really. I think I really like Cav, but he's so hard to see so many of the old guard, in quotations, coming back into this team. Where do they fit in? We've got such a stacked squad, and I mean, you're talking about, we're going to possibly look at getting another striker through the door. I mean, we've got enough, surely. If Humphreys is destined to play through the middle, you've got Cookie coming back, you've got Swan, you've got Cav. We've got so many players at every position. There's got to be some departures by the end of the window.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer of, if you're going to bring in a new player, you're bringing in a new player to be better than what you've currently got. Otherwise, it's a bit of a pointless task. Unless they're a squad player, a striker, you're going to want to bring in someone who's better than what you've got. The question is, though, we've got Cookie coming back, very close. You've got Humphreys, you've got Cavs, and you've got Swan. You've got 4 good players there. If you're a striker looking to join the club, looking to leave the current club you're at, are you looking at Bradford City and thinking, I want to go there right now? Because what are the chances of you actually getting into the team? You're gonna have to really work your socks off, and it's not going to be a guarantee. So I'd be a bit put off at the moment if I were a striker looking at a potential move to Bradford City, because of the depth that there is, because the players that we've got, barring potentially Cookie, all suit the style of play that we want to put in. And as a outsider coming in, I don't think many strikers would be up for that fight.
Well, I think it's funny that obviously, I think probably before the Blackburn game we were still talking about, we still need a striker. Then funnily enough, after Swan had a great performance against Blackburn, and after Humphreys had a great performance yesterday, no one's really talking about getting a striker in. It's almost like both of our strikers are playing really well at the moment.
Do we think we need anyone, though?
Right, okay.
This episode is proud to be sponsored by Now, where you can stream Sky Sports flexibly. Catch the biggest games this season how you want, when you want. The football season is back, and you can keep up with all the action on Sky Sports with a Now membership. Whether you're perched on the edge of your sofa or hiding behind it, you can capture more of the drama this season with Now. The heat of the moment, the 90th minute winner, that last-ditch tackle, the pride on the line, and the best bit, you can dip in for the derby or stay for the season. With a Now month membership, you can stream all Sky Sports channels flexibly. No fuss. Go to nowtv.com to find out more about sports memberships. 18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change. Full terms apply.
Well, shall we address the elephant in the room then? Shall we move on to the Nick Powell transfer rumours then?
Right,
so let's update the viewers on this. In our podcast chat, there have been 2 people, me and Andy, who have been absolutely adamant that we do not need this transfer. And Mr. Chris Windsor is very excited by the thought of Nick Powell coming to Bradford.
I absolutely am. Again, it's competition. You're saying about as well, Andy. You mentioned about, like, if you're a forward, why would you want to come in? Why not? Why are we not trying to strengthen the team? And I think that the thing is, what people keep saying about Nick Powell is, oh well, he'll be on loads of money. We don't know that. He's been injured for a while. He needs to have a restart to be fair to him. So everyone says, oh well, we're going to be spending loads of money on him. I don't think we will. I don't think it will be. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on a pay-as-you-play contract, because he needs this opportunity. This is huge for him. This is the rest of his career. This was a guy who was at Crewe and was bought by Man United for 6-7 million quid, who they obviously thought a lot of him. And when he's fit, he's brilliant. So I certainly do not have any problems with Nick Powell coming in. I think that he knows a lot of the players already. He's got that kind of Wigan connection, which, shock horror, we're used to that now. It's either them or Stockport. So I just think that he might settle into the team well. I just don't think it's something that we should say no, absolutely not to.
Yeah, I agree on the sort of the contract front, because the reported sort of thing is that he's not coming in on a 2-year like we usually give to players. It might be as short as some people are saying, a 6-month contract, like a really, really short-term thing. Basically an agreement between the player and the club of, well, you can come here and train and you'll be on the books, but this is essentially, you're coming in as a PFA free player just to train with us, but we are actually going to register you, sort of thing. Like with Hunt and Magliore in pre-season. So like you say, the money side of things might not be too much of an issue. My issue is that, yeah, okay, he's coming in as experience, but he doesn't. Who does he? Again, it's the Cook argument. Who does he displace? He's certainly not taking Bobby's spot. Is he the new person to take Wright's place on the bench? Well, I mean, considering how much Alexander loves Wright,
what's he bringing? What is?
Yeah, that's my other comment.
What is he bringing to this team to improve it? Because if you look at him, he went to Stockport, played League Two football for a season. He only managed to bag 3 goals, 2 assists all season. He got 7 appearances last year in League One. No goals, no assists. He's hardly a prolific striker. What is he doing?
He's not. Hang on. He's not a striker, isn't he? He's like a attacking midfielder.
He can play up there. He played there for Wigan. Okay. So he did play up there for Wigan. Again, though, I just don't understand where there's such a big problem about Nick Powell coming in. It just seems to be like the way people talk about it is that he's a trouble causer. I don't think he's a trouble causer. I think you're absolutely right about the fact that he's in. The problem for Nick is that if he didn't have the injury issues that he's had, he definitely would have been. He'd still be further up in the league. There's no doubt about that for me in my mind. My thing is, I don't think it's going to be a massive risk. As you say, it sounds like he's just going to be training. He might, he'll be on the books. Why not? He has had that. He has had that ability. He has had the quality.
Yeah.
What is he bringing?
Again, it's the experience side of things again, and he is a player that has played at the very top. I think it's something like maybe £10 million in transfer fees over his career.
Oh wow! Let's sign him up.
Well, to be fair, at the moment, mate, he would be actually probably the most money from a player that we've had play for us in the last 5-10 years.
Wow, get that in the Guinness Book of Records.
Money don't mean jack all, though, does it? I'm sorry, I think we've got enough experienced heads in the squad. I don't think we need someone who's not going to contribute on the pitch.
What I would ask you guys is, I would say to you, do you trust Alexander's opinion?
Oh, you're stealing my lines. I was just about to come on to that, and I'm going to sidetrack you now by going back and say that every club that has had him over the past sort of 3 years has said exactly what you said. A, why not? He's clearly got ability. Oh, it'll be different this time. He's not going to be injury prone. All the Stockport fans are saying exactly that we thought exactly the same as you're saying. He's not going to be injury prone. He'll be good on the books. And instead, you get a lazy player who didn't score very much, didn't play very much, was constantly injured.
Doesn't make him a lazy player, though, Ewan, just because he's injured.
No, not at all. But
well, no,
if you're gonna have someone on,
it can do. Because
if you're gonna have someone on the books,
if he's constantly injured, then obviously I can't say for certain, but he could be doing something wrong in the terms of preparation, or when he's coming back from injury, he might not be putting the time in the gym to get over a certain injury, whatever. I can't get on. What I can't get on board with this transfer is he's experienced and all that stuff is correct, yeah. But we've got experienced heads in the team. What is he cannot bring anything to our starting 11 or our our entire match day squad to displace. Who does he displace? Tell me now who you take out for Powell.
I will hold my hand up here and say Tyreek Wright. I would rather have Nick Powell than Tyreek Wright. I think he's a better option later in the game. You say what you want about him being obviously injured. He's definitely got a bit of magic in his boots because he has shown that at times in his career. Whether he's still got that now, and we talk about his obviously attitude and injury proneness, but I think he definitely can bring something to the team, and he's a great option to have off the bench. It's just I don't have a problem with the ability side of things. I just think if you're worried about possibly him being injury prone, maybe possibly an attitude problem, why bring him in? The bottom line is, though, Chris has already said this, I'm going to steal his comment, but the management have earned our trust, and we should back this if it goes through. Like with the Tilt transfer, is that, why are we bringing him? Why are we bringing him? And then once he gets here, right, okay, he's here now, so let's back him. Let's put the effort in, and he's built on the Bradford shirt, so let's back him.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Obviously, anybody that puts on the shirt, you want them to do the best possible. And if he comes in, I'll back him and I'll give him fair time. Like that's by the by. What I'm thinking is, and I do trust the management, but for me, it just seems so backwards that we're going in for him when, personally, if my football manager brain, I'd be going for a young, hungry loan rather than worrying about his contract situation. Because if he does come in on cheap, great, but there is that possibility that he might be on a bit of a lump. And for me, I just feel like we're going for a name rather than what we actually need in this team.
I feel like we've got Verdane Oliver PTSD here with a hefty long contract sort of thing. I also love how we spent 5 minutes waxing lyrical about how the atmosphere around the club's never been better, then proceeded to shout at each other about the Nick Powell transfer. Right, I'm going to move us on because otherwise we're going to be here all day arguing about just nothing. Let's do a quick roundup. Big scores from yesterday. The Dog Shaggers lost. Hip hip hooray. They are now no longer on a perfect run. They lost 3-2 away at Blackpool. Quite a great game, that. All the goals happening in the first half. Blackpool having a man sent off as well. And we're now officially above them in the table. So mind the gap. Everyone say it together. Mind the gap. Cardiff with another 3 points, 3-0 win against Rotherham. Doncaster 1-0 versus Wickham. Stockport were 2-0 up against Leyton Orient, but conceded a 93rd minute equaliser to have a share of the points there. Big game that for us on Tuesday, obviously, that we're going to come on to. Plymouth, notably, and Peterborough and Reading continuing their pointless starts in League One, which is a big deal, I think. Reading losing to Wickham, Wigan beating Peterborough, and Lincoln coming out 3-2 against Plymouth. That's quite surprising, I think, because I mentioned at the start of the season about how I think big teams were going to have to lose out and have bad seasons in order for teams like us to do really well. And that's happening right before our eyes. Plymouth under Tom Cleverley and Peterborough, who've spent big, and Reading obviously are under new ownership, all without points and all on -5 goal difference going into game week 4 midweek.
Little shout out to Stevenage as well.
Yes, top of the league. Only team now who are perfect with 3 out of 3. And then behind them, there are 5 teams, including ourselves, that have got 7 points.
Yeah, I think Stevenage, I wouldn't say they've had the hardest start. Fair play to them. I don't think anybody would have put them up there. That bottom 4, I know we're only 3 games in and there's still plenty of football to be played, but it's a bit of a shocking bottom 4. It's not something that I don't think any of us would have called, barring Northampton.
Yeah, and Reading, I predicted Reading to be in the playoff spots, so having a terrible start. Peterborough carrying on their form from last year, really, really struggling. Northampton, obviously, their only point that they've got so far was against us. But there's been some shock scores so far in this league. Wimbledon winning again as well, by the way. So they've now won, I think, is it 2 wins now they've had?
Yeah.
So again, a team who, majority, 99% of people predicted to finish it probably even at the bottom of the table, have got 6 points out of 9. So
even Burton Albion, who I had to go down, are sitting in 12th on 4 points. It's obviously very, very early days, and I mean, should results go against them on Tuesday, then they could be they could be in the bottom 4. But yeah, it's so early days. But it's interesting to see the way the league's shaping up already.
It is early days, but are you two on board with my early season prediction yet? Of we are playoff material, based on, without getting overexcited. Based on what you've seen from Bradford City in these first 3 games, you can't tell me that there is not a playoff credential in there.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that I understand that. Again, I've probably been far too cautious because I'm too nervous about the fact that there could have been a relegation battle. I think I'm going to go out and say this now, famous last words: we won't go down. We're not going down this season.
Well, I think that's a safe bet now, considering how we've looked in our first few games.
Yeah,
but do we go up? Do we go, or at least go into playoffs? That will my
I
we're
think
in playoffs.
I will. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit on the fence, and I'm going to say there is nothing stopping us from getting playoffs, because if Luton have come here and we've made them look bang average, we haven't made them look like they've got that Premier League war chest. They look really tepid. We didn't give them much. Admittedly, a poor performance from them, but like I said already, every team that comes to Valley Parade seems to put in a poor showing nowadays. I think if we're doing that, teams like Luton, there is nothing stopping us getting playoffs. Even if we lose on Tuesday to Stockport, who are obviously, I think, will probably be my favourites to go up. That's still playoff form. There's nothing to stop us having those ambitions, but the message in the dressing room will definitely still be 1 game at a time. We just want to go into each game and do the best we can, and wherever that takes us is where it takes us. There's such a long way to go, and I wouldn't be surprised if Luton, who have had a really good start, obviously they've got 2 wins and 1 loss in the league, they could well run away with it. There's no telling what will happen in the last part of the season. And it's just important that we just keep plodding along. We keep the consistency that we've got at the moment. So, can we get playoffs? Absolutely. Will we? I'm not sure.
I'm exactly what Ewan's just said. I'm on the fence for a change. I think that is it. And like I say, if it sounded like we've been negative in the past, it's not. It's not that we're being particularly negative, or certainly I'm not trying to be negative. It's just kind of trying to keep your hopes kind of like just in check, I guess. Do I think that we're good enough for the playoffs? Potentially. I think if we can carry on in the same vein that we played, the 2 games at Valley Parade and at Ewood Park, do I think there's an opportunity? Absolutely.
So where are we thinking then? So we've got Stockport Tuesday night, and we're all fully aware that they're a good side, one of the favourites to go up. Are we seeing the match roll out? How do we think we're going to do?
I think the game style will suit us again. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be a Northampton case where we go away and it's going to be bad League 2 football. They are going to play some really, really intense passing play that we may struggle with. I mean, looking through, I think when I look at that Luton side, I look at it and go, oh, okay, they've got players I know, but not necessarily players who are League 1 stalwarts, who have played here, who know the league inside out. And I look at that Stockport team and I go, that's so dangerous. Looking at the front 3 of Camps, Diamond and Wootton and they've got Nathan Lowe, they've got Mothersill, obviously, they've got Jaden Fevrier, all these players who last season tore the league up. It's to keep all these players is incredible. They've obviously just re-signed Hills as well, who was one of their best players last season. They've got similar to us. They've got dangerous fullbacks. Even the centre backs are threats from set pieces. Corey Adai is a fantastic keeper, and he's got to be to push Hinchcliffe out the team. They are.
They've just You're just naming so many players, and every single player you just mentioned, about 10 of them, and I'm going, yeah. And that's why I feel that
I haven't even mentioned Norwood or Moxon in the middle either. They are a seriously stacked team, and you can see why they're favourites. There is no reason though that we can't go with a positive mindset. We went into the Luton match with quite a negative, okay, we'll take a point territory here, and we rolled them over. I know obviously we tend to be slightly weaker away from home, but there's no reason why we can't go into this game with a really positive mindset and say, well, no, let's go play our football, let's go see how we perform, just take it a game at a time. Even if we do lose, there's not going to be a massive fallout, because we're going to move on and say, well, okay, we really did expect to lose that game. And as long as the lads put a performance in and we don't look like we've rolled over or we haven't turned up, I think the fans will be satisfied knowing that we've had a really, really good start. Okay, let's move on. Next game, please.
The thing is, right, so Stockport at Edgeley Park, bit of a stat for you. We haven't lost at Edgeley Park since 2008. However, it's not all great reading. We've had one win since then there, and that were in the EFL Trophy last season, where we beat them 3-2. Other than that, it's got draw written all over it. I'd be happy with the draw. I think I'm quite firm on the mindset of, as long as we do the business at home, taking a point on the road, you should always come away happy with that. Do I think we can win? Yeah, we can, but it's not like we're going. They are a great side, don't get me wrong, but it's not like we're going to a ground that's got any sort of like suspicious voodoo against us or anything like that. We don't tend to lose at Edgeley Park, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we're going to be saying this a lot this season because we have so many close games. We're going to have to do so many sellouts. But again, it is just a short trip over the Pennines. It's a sellout crowd. There's no reason why we can't go there and play our football and play really well. It's not like some of the games that we're going to be facing later down the line, like your long away hauls, like.
So, do we play it in the same vein that we play at Valley Parade, or do we change the tactics because we are playing away from home?
No, we've just got to go play our football. That's how we did it against Blackburn. We didn't change our game plan just because we're playing higher opposition or we're playing a really good team here. We don't pull out all the stops and say, well, we're going to actually just park the bus and have 11 men on the line. We go out and we play our football. We don't let other teams phase us, and I think that's really important for us this season. Any team that wants to stay up doesn't want to just sit on the line and defend. They want to go out and play the football, because that's how you're going to get your points.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And to be honest with you, if last pod has anything to go by, me and Andy haven't got a clue about football whatsoever. I think we said, oh, do you imagine if we come out of here and we get 2 wins? And we're, nah, that's not going to happen. And we have. And this team keeps surprising us, and that's why, where I think probably a week ago, if you'd have said about this game, I would have absolutely said we're probably going to lose. I don't know if this team knows how to lose.
We certainly don't know how to give up. That's absolutely true. We've the effort we've seen over the last 2 games, over 90 minutes, is really impressive. Talked about obviously the winning the corner last minute at Blackburn, and even in sort of your 85 minutes into the game, and Nerfville's still trying to hype the crowd up. He's still getting everyone on the feet. He's really impressive. That
statement you just said then, we don't know how to give up. That's quintessential Bradfordian, that, isn't it? You know what I mean? That is Bradford City, the city of Bradford, the people of Bradford, in a nutshell. We just don't give up, and we've missed that for so long as a football club. That is the identity of Bradford as a city and as a football club. You're right there. They won't give up regardless of what the result is, and I've got no problem with clapping a Bradford City team off if they've lost, but they haven't done that. that is what it is to be Bradfordian.
Yes.
And I think now we've got that back, it just makes everything feel a bit more special.
I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about the atmosphere, but I was talking to my cousin coming away from the match, and we've both got our first season tickets in quite a while now, because we're both sort of back from university and things like that. And I was saying how even in the golden era of the Parkinson McCall, so this is late 2010s to mid 2010s, when we came away from games where we'd beaten good teams, you never felt like you do now, in the sense that we have played really beautiful football. We've looked really intense. We've played with such intent. It never used to be like that, and the atmosphere is fantastic. And the fact we can go away and say we've played some really beautiful football, I've seen us score a really satisfying goal, is really nice.
Yeah, I think it's that tenacious attitude that they've got, and you only usually see sort of like maybe 1 or 2 goals a season where the team's closed down an opposition goalkeeper and scored. I think we're going to see quite a lot of that this season. That intensity of going and putting goalkeepers and defenders under pressure, that especially the defenders that aren't the Rolls-Royce ball-playing defenders, they're going to panic so much with us. I think there's so much to be positive about with Bradford City right now, and in the way that they're handling themselves. I don't think it's even a case of you need the best players in this team. You just need players that are willing to graft and fight.
Yeah.
Right. Before we sign off, let's just have some quick predictions on the Stockport match. I will go first, and I will say a 2-2 draw, because that was the score last time we played them in the league, I believe.
I'm going to go 1-1.
3-2 City.
3-2. Oh, he's gone against the draw. That's controversial, but
that's just so I don't get told off by Ian.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just so you
it.
don't get told off. But I think, we talked about the Luton game. We've just gone against everything we just said about positivity. But there's no reason.
You have, not me.
Not you. Yeah, sorry, you won't be dragged down by this. Yeah, but there's no reason why we can't go there and play our football, and that will be the main thing. I think if we go away with a 2-2 draw or even a 2-1 loss, and we've played our football and we've looked really good, the momentum's still going to be around the team. We go again into the Peterborough game on next Saturday and just enjoy it. It's so satisfying at the moment to be a Bradford fan. I don't think, well, certainly in my life, there's never been a better time to watch and be a part of this great football club.
Totally agree. And I think we just have to round off there for this week, boys. I think we've said everything we can say without droning on and boring people further. So I do want to thank you for showing up early on this Sunday morning. Enjoy a couple of days away from football now. Get back to it on Tuesday night, and we'll see you for the next one on the 1911.
This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play reward shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum 1 reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
This episode of the 1911 podcast is brought to you by Coral, the proud sponsor of the TalkSport Fan Network, here for all kinds of fans. For the armchair experts who didn't have enough city points to make that away game. For the football fashionistas that wear claret and amber with pride. And for the nostalgia merchants, because nothing beats the history makers. Whatever kind of fan you are, with Coral's free-to-play reward shaker, win a guaranteed daily reward or offer throughout the season. Simply shake your phone to win. Over 18s only, maximum 1 reward or offer per player per day, 8am to 8pm. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. For more information on safer gambling, visit gambleaware.org.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
Talk Sport. Powered by fans.